Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me move this picture over here because I don't see you. So we have few people so far. And we will let everybody just a few minutes to join. But before we start, I would like to probably quickly overview the homework from the manual course so we can get started. So, I don't see that I have admin rights. Please let me check quickly my rights. Here. Let me quickly leave and join again. I just need to check my rights.
Є що хочемо сьогодні.
Oh, so seems like it's better now. Now I can control the meeting. Good, awesome. So let me quickly share my screen and let's get started. So move Zoom below. Yep, and let me open the homework. Just quickly overview the bug reports that you have reported and just quickly go over them just to provide you a feedback on what is correct and what was wrong. So you can analyze your homework and not do the same mistakes in the future. Okay. Just quickly opening everything. Courses. Okay. Bug reporting and responses. Okay. Okay, and let me share my screen and let me know if you can see my screen, guys. Are you able to see my screen now? Just send a message in the chat or just feel free to unmute yourself and let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, I see some thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you, AJ. And guys, please, if you joined this lesson, I'm encouraging you to unmute yourself, ask questions, and participate. It's not about just watching videos. It's not about just listening. It's about participating and being a student. So please either send a message or just actively participate and unmute yourself and just talk to me. Thank you for understanding. Okay, so I see the answers. Thank you. Okay, so let's analyze this from Marina. The three area, probably its type, it's a text area, consists of just one line of text. Okay, so go to this and open the app in full HTRS. There's a single line, text area consists of 3 lines, expected result, and there's a single line. And I don't see any attachment. Okay, so that's so it's better to attach some screenshot so I can see the result. As a developer, I would like to see what is happening because it's pretty clear what's happening, but it would be nice to see the result right away. Other than that, pretty clear and yeah, clear. Okay, Marina as well. If more than 8 patients added to the table, All of them are displayed. Yeah, also clear. Summary is super clear. Add 8 patients in the table. Yeah, somebody would say, oh, you need to add like navigate to the application and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, maybe it would be beneficial to post the URL because it's easier all the time, right? When I open this document and I don't have the URL open on my screen, I have to like either remember the URL or have it stored somewhere in my bookmarks and open it from there. Like, so it will take time. So it's always easier to post the URL to the application. So it's easier and quicker for the people who will be reviewing this and then later testing this to go to the application. So it will be beneficial to add at least the URL to the application as well. Actual results. So you don't have to mention all of this because you say add 8 patients in the table and then actual result, what you see. All of them are displayed. So all this is absolutely enough for the actual result because you already said everything except that, so you don't need to repeat this again because you have it in summary. And then you mention this in steps to reproduce that you add 8 patients to the table, and then actual result would be just all of them displayed, and expected result 5 patients, then ellipsis, and then last 8 patients like this. So it's absolutely enough to do like this. And then we have a screenshot here. So let's see. Yeah, absolutely. So this is good. So let's maybe skip to somebody else. I see Marina, you did a great job because I see a lot of bug reports from you. So I see something from Dmitry. Text area doesn't consist of 3 lines on main page. Okay, good. Open the application. Okay, confirms. So you don't have to test all of this because this test case that is responsible for like having 3 lines of text is a single test case and a single requirement. So nothing else is required and needed here. So for example, testing that 4 quadrants are there is not required. Maybe there are 3 quadrants, but right now in this bug report, you are describing this particular failure, that there are no 3 lines, but a single line, right? So also it's better to describe the actual result instead of like that it doesn't consist of like 3 lines. So here you mention like expected result, and then you say that it's not expected result. It's better to mention actual result, like text area consists of 1 line, right, instead of 3 lines, something like that. So open the application and just check the text area. So those 2 steps would be pretty enough. So you don't have to check that the first quadrant is a text because it's a separate test case, that there are 4 quadrants. It's also a separate test case. You don't have to mention all of that. You just need to mention this particular requirement, which is open the app and check the text area. And then you just say 1 line of text present and then 3 lines of text present. And also, as Marina did, it would be nice also to mention to open it in a full HD screen, because this screen that I'm sharing right now is full HD, but if I open the application on my laptop screen, so it may be a different result. Yeah, and I may be not able to see the failure exactly. Yeah, but I like the screenshots. I see that you have this, you have the expected result over here separately. So pretty nice screenshot and a good job. Yeah, this is a good job. And also just would like to mention that if you make some mistakes, it's normal because it's a course and it's normal to make mistakes here. So later you can avoid them. Okay, so the second one is all registered or shouldn't be shown in queue table. Okay, so I probably determined all patients. So you can say I liked how Marina mentioned that. So you can say here that more than 8 patients are shown in the table. It's fully enough and understandable, right? More than 8, because according to requirements, up to 7 should be shown. If you add 8, then you see only 5 first, and then ellipsis, and the 8th one, or the last one, right? So you can say more than 8 or more than 7 patients are shown in the table. Then open the app, and you can say here again, like general words. Open the app, add more than 8 patients. It's important because maybe at that time you have only 3 patients in the line, right? So you need to add more. So at that time, you just add, you need to mention that you need to add more than 8 or more patients, and then observe the table. And then you see, and you don't have to say this, verify that, blah, blah, blah. You just say, do the steps. This is what you need to do. Open the app and make sure that there are more than 7 patients. That's it. Or you can say add more than 7 patients, right? And then that's it. And then you see the expected result. Expected results are more, all of them are displayed in the table. That would be pretty clear and short actual result. An expected result would be table displayed first 5 patients, then ellipsis, and then the last one. And then let's see the expected, screenshot. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so pretty good. So this is the expected result, and this is the actual result. Cool. I like the screenshots the most. Okay, so let's move maybe to, so Natalia is here as well. So text area consists of just 1 line of text, like that. Go and open the in full resolution, full HD resolution. Text area is a single line. Text area consists of 3 lines. Clear, nice. Let's see the screenshot. Yeah, good. And nice arrow as well. Handmade arrow as well here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good. I like that. Tanya here as well. Text scales dynamic instead of being fixed to 3 lines. Okay, same here. Go to the front page. So just to let you know that steps to reproduce field is like multi-line text. So you can press enter and it will add a new line. So it shouldn't be like a 1 line, but it's fine. I can still read it. Go to the front page, open the app in the full screen. Again, would be nice to have a link here just to click it, or at least copy and paste in the browser. A single line, in a 1 line, and 3 fixed lines. Good. Okay. And it would be nice to have like square, red square, or arrow pointing to the element. Anya. And Natalia as well. Okay, same here. Yeah, so pretty good. So I will record all people who reported the bug reports. You did a great job. And if you participate in all the rest of the lessons, and Stan and Sergey will let me know that you also participated in coding lessons, especially if you would like to take the course. So you will get a discount, guys. So thank you for that. Okay, so good job. And now we can get started with the automation course. So for the automation course, I will share the link with you that we will be using as a reference for building the test automation framework. So I have a GitHub repo. You don't have to, I believe you don't have to be registered here. You can still open it. So I will send it to the Zoom chat as well as to the Slack chat. So free October. So in that chat, you can get this link. So you can open this link and we will be just following this guide and we'll build our first test automation framework. So I hope everyone who wants to follow me has installed the prerequisites, because they will be required for the test automation to work. Other than that, we are ready to get started. So let me quickly, so what I do usually, I open my big screen, which is full HD screen, and put half of the screen my guide, and the second half of the screen I put something I work in. So I will start with just Explorer, Windows Explorer, or in my case, it's a Mac Finder, and I will be creating folders and files. And then we will switch to Visual Studio Code, step number 2 in prerequisites. So if you have installed that, it will replace, it's a code editor that will help us to build the test automation framework. Okay, so guys, if you are ready, please let me know, just a thumbs up or mention that in the chat that you are ready, and we will get started. And maybe before we start, you have any questions, any specific questions, so I can answer them before we start.
I was not able to add the different types of the VS Code Python. Is it okay just to watch?
Excuse me. So why did you want to watch? Because
I was not able to install the Node.js and the Python.
you were not able to install because you didn't have a time, or just you had some problems?
Yeah, problems with my Mac.
And what was the problem? So it should be pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah,
There was a video guide, and it should be
yeah.
fine.
The storage on my Mac is, for whatever reason, is not responding. I'm going to try it on a different Mac and see if I can do it.
Yeah, you're still good to watch everything, but I highly encourage you to at least then watch the video, take a recording, install everything, take a recording, and then just, go step by step, put the video on pause, and then just copy the steps. You will always have an access to this repo, to this guide, so you can follow it anytime. But I will highly encourage you to do that on because watching is like just watching, right? But trying to build it on your side, and then I will build with you some simple tests, but you can continue building more tests. You can cover more and more and train and build your test automation. Just continue doing that. So I would always encourage you and everybody here just to do that anyways. Okay. Even if you're not able to follow me right now. Okay, any other questions? Okay, guys, then let's get started. So, preparation. First of all, usually we store all the projects in some specific location. In my case, I have projects folder, and I have all my projects in this folder. So if you don't have that, you are free to store it anywhere. So you can create projects folder on your desktop, project folder in your documents folder, anywhere. I just store it on my user level, so it's next to everything I have. It's just a projects folder here, and I have all the projects inside. So for this project, what I will do, I will create a new folder, and I will name it test automation free, like this. I encourage you to use only lowercase and dashes instead of spaces. That will help you to avoid some problems in the future. So just follow this approach. Just use lowercase only and dashes instead of spaces for naming your folder. And this folder can be stored anywhere. I suggest you to create some specific projects folder and then create a test automation folder inside. But if you don't have that, or you don't have time, you feel free to just right click on desktop and just create a new folder there. So new test automation free folder, and then create a folder for storing test automation project, and then we need to open it with VS Code. So I will open my VS Code. I open my VS Code, then I click File and Open Folder. So I open that folder that I just created with VS Code. So I go to Projects, find my test automation free, select it. I don't open it. I just select it, just one click on it. If you went inside, just go back. Just click on it and then click Open. So what you should see here, you see, like me, the second tab open over here is test automation free. As you can see over here, test automation free. It should be like this. So the name of your project should be here, because sometimes if you open that incorrectly, sometimes people open projects folder. Like, let's say I will go to projects folder and I'll click open. So you will see projects over here and all the projects listed over here, which is incorrect. What you should see is your name of your project up top and just empty space over here, like this. And please give me a thumbs up if you're done that. Or let's do the following. Yeah, it's maybe somebody is not following us, so I'll be waiting for some thumbs up, so which is incorrect. Probably let's do the following. If you're falling behind, just let me know. Just feel free to unmute yourself or send a message in the chat or unmute yourself and tell, hey, Arthur, can you wait for me? Or I'm having some problem. There is an error message, and you will just share the screen and we will go through that message with you and we'll fix it. So just feel free to stop me. And then just let me know that you're falling behind and we will just continue with you. We'll just wait for you, okay? Hope that is okay. Okay, so let's move forward. So file open or file open, actually it changed. I have to probably update the documentation because previously it was file open on Mac, but recently, maybe like a week ago, they have updated the Visual Studio Code. So now it also has open folder. Previously, it didn't have that. Just Windows version just only had open folder option. Right now, they both have open folder. And that what we need to do is do terminal, a new terminal, and you will see the terminal over here. On Mac, by default, you should see ZSH as the default terminal. On Windows, there probably will be command prompt or something like that. So what I would suggest you to do, you click over here on this arrow pointing down over here, and then you select default profile, this option. So up top, you will get many terminals and select git bash or just bash in your case. So that would be the best terminal to work in your case. So select it, select bash, and you will get bash as your default terminal. And then what you will need to do, click this kill terminal icon over here, which is a trash icon, and then open it again. Terminal, new terminal. And then you will see git bash opened by default. And if somebody following me and falling behind and didn't do that, let me know. Okay, let's then continue. So first of all, right now we just have empty folder and it's not a project yet. So for Node.js, and we'll be building JavaScript project, which is Node.js based, we need to initialize it. So there is a command to do that. It's node package manager, npm, space init, which is initialize. And yes is just a flag to answer all the questions yes. So you don't have to answer them one by one. So if you just have this guide, you can hover over here. You don't have to like select and copy. You just need to hover over this icon and just click on it. And then you can paste into your terminal and then click enter. So you will see there's a package JSON. So package JSON is a project file that makes your folder a Node.js project now. So now we have Node.js project. So if everything is fine and you get the same message as I did, so you should be good to go further. And again, I won't be asking all of you if you're following me because not everyone is following. But if you're falling behind and we need to wait for you, or you need help with something, you're getting error message, please feel free to just stop me, unmute yourself and just tell me, hey, Arthur, I have some error message. Can you please check? And you will share your screen and I will help you with that. Because I would like you to really install this framework and play with it. Okay. So the next thing, we need to install the module, the framework actually itself. So there is a command npm install, and it can install every module from the internet. So there is like a library of frameworks, library of libraries, library of libraries. Yeah, so there is like a libraries of Node.js libraries. And there is a big library of all of those methods, all of those libraries, frameworks, and so on. So it's called NPM, Node Package Manager. So if you run the command npm install, it will go to a specific website, which is npm.js.org, I believe. Yeah, js.com. So this is the library of everything that have built on JavaScript. So for example, somebody build a tool that shows the Google Maps in your application, and it has very simple API. So they have created that and published it here. So it's open source thing. And if you need to use it for your framework, for example, you can easily go and install this package from this website, and it will be available for you to use in your application that you're building, right? So this is like just JavaScript library with everything that have built, that the community have built since JavaScript was released. So this command will just install this module, and this module is our framework, WebDriver.io, so DDWD.io, and CLI means command line interface. So we are just installing this module from the internet. So just copy, paste, and click enter, and installation will get started. So what's happening right now? We are installing WebDriver framework, and then you will see the node modules folder that will appear over here. So modules is just a folder that stores everything that we have installed in our project, all the modules, because WebDriver.io is a single module, but this module also requires all other modules. So as you can see, we have installed 305 packages into our project. Okay, and then the third step will be to configure our framework. And again, just to let you know, you don't have to remember this. So all those commands, you don't have to remember this because it's done once. Once you install the framework, it's done once. I don't remember all of them. When I need to create a new framework, for example, I join a new company, or there is a new project that I'm working on, and I need to build one new framework from scratch. So I'm just opening my own guide, or I opening WebDriver.io website, and I'm just following the guide, how to install the framework. So what I do is just following those simple commands, and I install it from scratch, and that's it. Once you have built that and install it, which we will do today, you don't have to do that, because what you will be doing daily is just building the test cases, and that's it, because the framework will be the same. So this guide is just something to follow whenever you need to install a new framework from scratch. Every next time you just, every next day, actually, every day, you will be just writing the test cases and nothing else. So the next command, once everything is installed, the next command would be to configure our framework. So let me see, can I ask a question in the framework? AJ, yeah, sure. And yeah, please free to just unmute yourself and ask.
If you have different frameworks, so let's say in this instance you have WebDriver, but let's say you're working with something like Selenium or Cypress or Detox, or different types of frameworks, would you be following the same course, or is there a different configuration towards installation?
Actually, they are very similar. So if you, for example, take WebDriver.io, which is this one we are using, and Cypress, for example, they are very similar. So Cypress is easier. So once you know WebDriver.io, Cypress will be super easy for you. What is WebDriver? Again, it's a framework. So you mentioned Selenium. Selenium is only the part of the framework that stays between your code and the browser. So Selenium's goal is just to talk to different browsers, because every browser has own language, has own API, application programming interface. So for example, if you compare Chrome and Safari, they have a different command to open the page, different command you need to send to a browser, to, for example, to click the button or set the value into the text field. So you have to know all of those commands in order to do some actions in the browser. So what Selenium did? So they just provided a single command. So they gathered all the commands from all the browsers, and they said, okay, so we as developers of Selenium, we will talk. So our Selenium, so you will have your code over here, then you will have Selenium over here, and then it will be browsers or multiple browsers. So you will send a single command to Selenium from your code. You say, hey, Selenium, click this button in Chrome. And then we say, okay, if this is Chrome, then send this command to Chrome to click this button. If this is Safari, click this command, which is absolutely different. So they actually gathered all the commands from different browsers into one single place, called it Selenium, and provided one single API, one single language. So you send one single command to Selenium, and Selenium knows what to do with a specific browser. So this is the Selenium, but Selenium is just a part of the project, part of the framework, because framework consists of configuration. Framework can consist of test cases, of specific framework, of specific test runner that will just execute your test cases. And then only once you execute your test case and you have some specific command, only then you send it to Selenium, and Selenium send it to a browser. And then after that, you may have a test reporter that will report and collect all the test result, and then either send them over email, which is a separate part of your framework, or it may be just displaying that HTML version of that report. So framework is a lot of different modules, and Selenium is only one of them. So WebDriver.io supports a lot of things. It's WebDriver supports Selenium, Chrome driver, supports South Lab, supports browser stack, Lambda test, and many other services, like you can imagine. So you can go to WebDriver.io and just read about back to main menu API like this, probably docs, services, service, and all of these services, and Selenium just one of them. So as you can see, there are a lot of services that you can do. You can do some image comparison with WebDriver.io. You can actually do a lot of things. You can do performance testing with WebDriver.io. So in all of those things, you install a different service and work with that service. So WebDriver.io is just like code base that supports many services in between that can do something either with browser like Selenium, or with just APIs, with backends, with images, with PDFs, blah blah, a lot of things. So it's a very powerful tool, and that's why we learned WebDriver.io first, and only then we are planning to do Cypress. Cypress is very simple. Cypress is a single tool that supports only Chromium-based browsers, and all of them are built in. So it's just a single tool. It doesn't support a lot of services like we do over here. It doesn't support mobile testing, right? So that's why WebDriver is very powerful, and it needs to be learned first, because you can do anything with WebDriver. With Cypress, it's very easy to use. It's very popular, and if you have like simple React application, web application, probably your choice will be Cypress, because it's very easy to use, very reliable, and it will be easier for you to build test automation framework on that. But once you have iframe, once you have connections with different services, with different like pop-ups, we have banking system integrations in your website, you have complex application, unfortunately, Cypress will not help you, because Cypress cannot manage even 2 tabs. Cypress can manage only single tab in a browser. If you need to switch a tab, Cypress will not help you with that. If you would like to do mobile testing, Cypress will not help you with that, because it doesn't support Appium, for example, and many more. So you can read Cypress documentation. You can go to Cypress website, and they have a list of trade-offs that you unfortunately don't have if you choose Cypress. So that's why the decision is not so easy. Sometimes you have to learn the application first, and then see if it's very complex, and it has sometimes different tabs, management, and it has different client third-party integrations that can pop up in a iframe or some specific pop-up, Cypress will not help you with that because it's not created to do that. It's created to do the simple applications. And if you do that, yeah, Cypress will be your best tool. So that's why. So again, frameworks are different. Why WebDriver? First of all, if the most popular front-end development tool right now is React. React is Node.js. So then you see, okay, so it's better to have Node.js automation. So Node.js are two, the most popular tools, which is Cypress and WebDriver. Unfortunately, Cypress is not capable of doing everything. So then WebDriver is the only framework left to start with. And then Cypress, if you know WebDriver, because it will be very similar. It's Node.js based. So it's also will be npm init. Then you will be installing npm install, but you will be installing Cypress, not WebDriver, and the configuration will be very similar. So that's why we are planning to extend our courses from 2 months, that is currently, to 3 months, probably starting with this course starting in the late November, to make it 3 months to include Cypress as well. So because Cypress is very easy to learn on top of WebDriver, because WebDriver is complex. And if you know WebDriver, you can easily pick up Cypress and many other frameworks, because there are more frameworks that you can use. So that's probably the answer. Any other question? Okay, so let's continue. So yeah, so we initialize our project, we installed WebDriver IO, and then we just need to configure it. To configure it, we just need to run this simple command. So just copy it and paste, and then we will get some questions to answer. So the first question will be, where is your automation backend located? So by default, it's on my local machine, so you just click enter. You can actually navigate by clicking arrow up and down on the keyboard, but it should be on my local machine, as you can see here on my local machine. So we select this. Then the test automation framework we are selecting. So what is it? It's a test runner, actually. Test running framework. It will be Mocha. So select enter. Do we need some compiler? Yes, we need to select Babel. So click up. Then where you select Babel, click enter. Enter. So where my specs will be located. So specs are the tests actually that we will be writing. So just copy from here. So this will be the path to our specs, and just paste it. And then once you paste it, click enter. Okay. Do you want the driver to auto-generate some test files? No, we will generate our own test files. So just select N, type N, and then click enter. And then what kind of reporter? We just need spec reporter that will be reporting to our terminal. So it will be selected by default, just click enter. What we'll be using as a service, we will be using just Chrome driver, which supports only Chrome browser, and that's fully enough for our test automation framework. Okay, and the base URL, it will be our application that we were using during manual course, which is this getting line, and just Command D. So just copy this URL, paste it, and click enter. You will be able to change it later, but try to do this right now, because sometimes people are selecting something else, misclicking something. So try to do that slowly, do not hurry up, and just copy everything and do according to this guide. So this is what should be there. So on my local machine, Mocha, then Babel, then test / and every JS file, then auto-generate files. No, reporter spec, service Chrome driver, and base URL should be the URL of our getting line application. 41 page in the line. Okay. Okie dokie. And again, please feel free to stop me if you're falling behind. So again, then, and one more module we need to install. It's a WebDriver sync module. So again, the command is very simple, npm I, and the name of the module. Then just copy and click enter. Okay, so now we're actually ready. So that's it. Framework is installed and configured. So the next step for us will be to create a folder where we will be storing our tests and start writing them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on here, an empty space, and create a new folder. And the folder will be called test. Oh, no, what? New folder test. Okay. Test folder, and then test.js inside that folder. So I am doing right click on this folder on test, and then new file. And should be test. And then again, I want to type in there. New file test.js. So JS means JavaScript, and we will be writing our code in this file. So then we have a template that I'm going to explain you. So this is the Mocha syntaxes. Remember, we were selecting Mocha as a test runner, and Mocha has a specific syntaxes just to define the tests. You don't have to understand it. You just need to copy this because this is what we do daily. So you never like write the syntaxes from scratch. You always copy and paste. So you can see that we have the scribe, right? The scribe, this part, I can remove all of this. So you can see, so this is the scribe. The scribe is a test suite, and this is the test suite name. So if you have one test suite per file, it's fine. If you would like to have 10 test suites per file, so what you do, you actually copy this and paste it below, and you will have multiple test suites. So the scribe is a test suite. And then you have before. So before is just a function that gets executed before every test gets started. So for example, you need to do some preparation. So your file is testing your my account page. Once you log into any application, you have usually my account page. So you have some settings there, you have some personal information there, you can change the password and email and blah, 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 right? So, and if you need to, so in order to test your my account page, first of all, you have to log in and go to that page. So in before, we usually put all the code that does that preparation. So in before you do the preparation, and then it is a single test. So for example, if we would like to test the application and check that there is such text, in the first line in before, you put browser navigating to this URL, opening the application code. So you open the application, and then you start testing, right? And we have some test cases that we can cover in automation. So we can say that there are 4 quadrants, and we can say that there is a text, this text that is, there are 41 people in the line, and so on, right? So we can actually put everything in a single test case. So a single test case is it. So it is a test case, and the scribe is a test suite. So you don't have to remember how to write it from scratch. You just need to know. If you need another test suite, you just copy this, all of this. And this is what I do daily. I never write it from scratch. I know how to write it actually, because the syntax is very simple, especially if you have the JavaScript knowledge, right? So the syntax is very simple because it's a function, just a function. But even if you don't know, you just copy and paste. And I'm also copy and pasting daily because it's very easy. So if I need a new test suite, I just copy the test suite, do the line breaks over here, and just paste it below, right? So I have a next describe. So describe, and I just rename it. So let's say this describe will be element, and I will be checking that the elements are displayed. And in this describe, which is the test suite again, I will be checking the values, which is the text value. This value is correct, this value is correct, this value is correct, and so on, right? So, and again, before is a preparation, so I will just leave it. And I will empty the it. So again, and these are the name, these strings are the name of the test cases. And this is the name of the test suite, and this is the name of the test, specific test. So as you can see, I have one test suite that is called elements. Inside I have before, which is a preparation. And I put inside, I put like multiple lines, the preparation of the test. In this case, the only preparation is just open the URL of this website. And in this test, I'm testing something. In this test, I'm testing something. So in this test, I'm testing title. In this test, I'm testing URL. And then I will be testing some values. And then I will be testing something else. And I can add one more describe. And that will be, I will be testing the functionality in. Functionality. So, and that's it. If I need to add another test, what I do, I copy this test, paste it below, remove this, because this is the code from the previous test, then rename it. Let's say, I don't know, I will be testing something else. Something else, and then I will use some command to do something. Now, so if this is clear, then everything will be super clear for you. So how we know what to do and how to actually do something on the website? It's very simple, because so WebDriver.io, what WebDriver.io does? So same thing as comparing to Selenium. So WebDriver.io, what they did, same as Cypress, for example, Cypress or any other framework, the advanced frameworks. There are some old frameworks that are not so nice to use, but especially like WebDriver.io or Cypress, they are very similar. What they give you is just a list of commands that you can do to interact with the browser. And that's it. So you just pick a command that you need to use and just put it here. And that's it. And browser with the WebDriver.io will be doing that for you. So how that works, if you open WebDriver.io and go to API, and I will send this to you, let me send it to the chat over here. Yeah, AJ asking before include your preconditions. Yeah, I'm just doing the preparation in before. If, for example, again, if I'm testing, sometimes I'm testing some page that I need to go to first. I need to log in and then navigate to that page somehow. So in before, I do the preparation, because the test is you test something, you execute the test case, and it should either fail or pass or fail, right? So you cannot put preparation there, because if something happened during the preparation, you get a false failure, because the test case didn't fail. Something failed during the preparation. So that's why preparation should be in before. And if you have the failure and valid failure, it should be in test, which is it. So it should be something that you're really testing. And if you, for example, testing the title of that page that you navigated to, that should be the first test case. You test the title of that page. Everything that you did before that testing that title, the first test case should be in before. If it fails, it will fail as before, as a preparation failure. So something happened during the preparation, but it shouldn't fail the test case itself, because the title will be correct. And if you put the code to navigate to that page in the test, it may fail, and it will say that the title failed, title test failed, but the title may be correct at the same time because something failed during the preparation. So again, preparation goes in before. Everything else, like the specific test case, I'm testing the title, I'm doing the functional testing, I'm testing the length of the field, everything goes in specific separate test case. And in Mocha syntaxes, it's a test, and describe, it's a test suite. And you can actually organize describe into another describe. So there can be multiple level of describes. So you may have test suite of a higher level then multiple test suites, then test suite, next test suite or higher level, then few test suites inside. So there can be multiple levels of describes. So you can say like this, describe, and you can put it into this describe, and it can be this describe. So if you would like to have a task structure when there is a one test, like bigger test suite, like a test plan, and then you have a test suite and test suite inside, it can be like this. So it can be describe inside describe, but it always at the end should be it, because it is a test. You always have test cases at the end. Same as in Azure DevOps or anywhere else, right? In Jira, you always have at the end test cases, no matter how you organize the folder structure. But at the end is always the list of test cases that you execute. So there cannot be it inside it. It's the last level. It's the lowest level of the test executor, right? So, but the scribes can be multiple levels, but we won't do that. We will have regular stuff. We will have just describe, then separate describe, and then the separate describe, which is test suites. And before, sometimes you don't need before if everything is ready. For example, I will be doing before going to the URL over here, and then I will be doing something. But once you go to values, I'm already on this page. I just tested that all the elements are present. So I'm always on this page, already on this page. So I don't have to navigate to it again. So I don't need before, and I will probably remove it. Same, I will check the values on the page, and then I will still remain on the page. So I don't have to prepare anything for functionality. So probably I will remove before from here as well. So sometimes before is not needed, but sometimes it is. So you will need to keep it, right? So it's up to you, and you will see, and it depends on your like test cases. Okay, so again, let me know if everything is clear on the structure, on the test structure side. Just thumbs up, or just answer in the chat, or just unmute yourself and let me know. So anything. Maybe thumbs up is easy way. Okay, so it's clear. I see it from Dmitry. How about Tanya, Natalia, Marina, Anatoly, AJ? Is everything clear in terms of like what is described and what is it and before? If not, let me know. I can repeat again. So AJ, I see it's okay from Anatoly. Tanya, Natalia, Marina. How about you guys? Yes, okay. I see from Marina and Tanya and Natalia. I see. And Tanya, so Natalia is the last one. Is everything clear for you? Okay, so now, so actually this is how you organize your test cases. One thing to remember here, you can have multiple test files. So it's absolutely up to you how you organize your test cases. You may say, okay, I'm planning to do smoke testing in one folder, regression testing in another folder. You then create test folder, then inside you create smoke folder, then you create inside regression folder, and so on. So it's absolutely up to you how you break down. It depends really on your project. It depends on your application, and it's absolutely up to you. Then it can be API testing. It can become some other type of test, some cleanup testing, and so on. So it really depends on how you manage your framework and folder structure. It's absolutely up to you. So at the end, you always should have JS files that will contain the code that you test. And what you need to know here, that it will be a single session per test file. So if you have this file, it will open browser once for it. So that's why I was mentioning that if I'm in this file and I opened the browser and navigated to this URL once, it will stay on this URL until the end, till the end of the file. In the next file, I will need to open that URL again because it will be a separate browser session. So one file, one browser session, and that's it. So now, the only thing that you need to learn here is how to use commands from WebDriver.io and how to actually do something in a browser. So it's actually very easy because WebDriver.io just provides a list of commands to use, and that's it. You just select the command that you use for a particular case. Okay, so let me just, I already sent this link to the chat, so let me quickly send this here as well. So driver docs API. So if you open this, so you have several sections over here. So the first one I would start with is a browser. So browser level things. So if you need to do something with the browser level, like navigate to the URL, it's a browser level thing, right? You navigate to some URL. It's related to a browser. If something related to an element, for example, you would like to enter text into specific field, it's specific element on the page. If you would like to click the button, it's specific element. You go to the element. And if you would like to compare something or check something, compare expected result with actual result, you go to expect. And that's very simple. So first of all, I would like to navigate. So by default, when I start my file, I will remove this. It will open just the browser. Just will open the browser. But in order to open some specific file, I need to use a command to go to some specific URL because browser doesn't know where to go. So WebDriver IO will just open the browser. And then I need to say, okay, open this URL. So fortunately, we mentioned when we were doing configuration, we mentioned this URL as our base URL. And you open wdo.config.js and you scroll to base URL, you should see this option over here, right? So this is our base URL. So now in my files, I don't have to say go to this URL and mention the long whole URL. I just put a slash. Slash means go to base URL, and that's it. So when I need to go to some specific URL, and actually let me try to run something. So how to run my test? First of all, I go here. To run my first test, I need to copy this command. So actually, it's very simple. This code means npx just command to run WebDriver IO, and then WebDriver IO command run, and this is just the configuration file we're running in, and we just have a single one, so we mentioned it. So very simple. We just copy it, paste, and click enter, and it should run the test. As you can see, it opens the browser. And as you can see, browser is here, but it didn't go to any URL, so it's empty, right? So that's the problem. I need to tell my browser to go to some specific URL, and the command will be very simple. Let me kill this. So the command will be very simple. It will be, I will be looking for it. Since this is browser level, I will go to browser, and we'll be just reading between them. But I know that the command is URL. Browser URL is the command to go to some specific URL. And here I just mentioned the URL to go to. As you can see, there are some examples. So you can switch to synchronous mode because we are using it. So the command is very simple. Browser URL, and you mention the command. And that's it. And they also say that you can mention relative URLs if you have base URL configured. Right, so we have base URL configured. So what we need to do is just say base URL, browser URL, and just slash instead of this. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. I will replace the WebDriver IO website by just a slash. Copy. Then I open my first thing here, browser URL, and actually the scribe will be not elements. I will be checking the application itself. Application level, because what I would like to check the title of the application, which is displayed here. Also, I would like to check the URL that is correct, because you can see that according to my requirements, URL should add line/patient, because by default, I'm not going to line patient, I'm going just to this URL. But it adds line patient. It's also a requirement. So I need to check that as well, right? So this is browser level tests. So I will be checking this first. So my first test suite will be called application level tests. Here in before, my preparation will be browser URL and just a slash. So open base URL, which is mentioned in the configuration that we have done already. And then how to check the title. Actually, you have title right away. So you don't have to navigate with the browser. You go directly to expect, and expect has browser matchers. Again, if you need to check something in a browser level, and if you would like to check some specific element, like element is displayed, present, existing, focused, have attribute, enabled, disabled, clickable, blah, 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 a lot of checkers over here. And there are even more checkers that in this list, because at the end, if we scroll to the very bottom, it will tell us at the end that we can also use jest library. It's here. Yeah, so we can also go to jests expect library, and there are more even methods that you can use with WebDriver. Yeah, but for now we don't need. We just need to check the title. Browser matchers to have title. So we would like to check that our browser, our tab, has specific title. So you just go here, select to have title, and as you can see, they have an example. You go to URL and then you say expect browser to have title. Oh, they are showing us this in asynchronous code. So you don't have to copy await because it's a synchronous example. You just need to copy this part. So they say expect browser to have title, and this is the title that we expected. So on the left side, you have actual result. In this case, it's just a browser because we expect the browser to have title. And on the right side, we have to have title, and we mentioned the expected title. In our case, the expected title is already there. We already put it, right? Expect browser to have title. And this is the expected result. And that's it. So you don't have to know how those commands work under the hood, because what WebDriver or your developers did, they also took complex API, because in order to send some command to Selenium, you're sending like a huge object mentioning type of the command. You mention the type of request you're sending. You mention the URL in Selenium that you're sending to. Selenium is like a server. It has specific URL that you're sending to. You send the element ID. You send the type of the action you're doing. You send the browser name you're doing in, browser version, and so on. So it's very complex command just to click one single button through Selenium in browser. WebDriver did the same as Selenium developers did. They say, okay, what we will do, we will take those complex commands that you need to send to Selenium or Chrome driver or any other service and wrap them in a simple human language command, which is, for example, if you would like to check that the browser tab has a title, specific title, you use this command, expect browser to have title, and you mention expected result over here. This is the only thing you need to know. How it works under the hood, you don't have to know. So that's why coding right now is very simple, because you just take their commands and do whatever you want to do. If I need to check the title, I use this command. If I need to check the URL, I use this command. And that's it. And I just mentioned my expected command over here. With elements, it will be more complex because I will need to first mention the element ID, specific ID of that element. And then I will check that that element to be displayed or to be present or to be enabled or clickable and so on, that element. Or I will set value into that element and so on. So this is how easy the animation is, because you will just be reading and looking for the command you need to use and just use it. And that's it. WebDriver, you will do everything that you mentioned. And so what you do actually, you're simulating user actions. Everything you do manually, you just do that in automation form, and that's it. So let me go back to my WebDriver IO in VS Code. So here I will be checking the title. And in URL, I will be doing the same. I will be just checking browser to have URL, and this is the URL, including line and patient, because this is expected result. And what I do now, I run my test again. And let's see what happens now. Now I have browser URL command. So as you can see, yeah, that's it. It actually did the job. So I will probably have to simulate some longer time so you can see that what happens. So what I will do, I will put browser pause, and browser pause command that accepts milliseconds. So I will mention 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. And I will pause the execution for that time. And I will also put browser pause after this line, just to show you that it works. Because right now, as you could see, it worked very quickly, and probably you even didn't notice how quickly it checked everything. Yeah, and you don't have to copy and paste the commands in your terminal again and again. You can navigate through them by clicking up and down on your keyboard. So for example, this is my to open the previous command, I just click 1 time up. To open the previous command, again, 1 time up, 1 time up, and I can even navigate through the previous commands I was running through, right? Even the first commands are available there. So I'm just clicking up and down. So in order just to run the previous command, which is test command, just click 1 time up and just enter again. So as you can see, our site is open, then it's pause, and then check and a pause again. So we check the title is correct and the URL is correct. So actually those 2 test cases are passing. So now I would like to check the values are correct. For example, this value is correct. And whatever I can check, this is correct, this is correct. Maybe something else, what I can check here. Oh, get in line is correct. The image doesn't have any value, so I won't be checking the value, but what I can check for sure is this. I can check the bottom. I can check this. I can check this. I can check this, right? So these values are predefined and they have some specific value. Of course, these are manually entered, so I won't be checking them. These are random, so I'm not able to check them. But I can check this, I can check this, and other things later. So first of all, let's check this, first of all. So this is the element. This is the element, and I need to find that element. So let me go first to my test. So the second, oh no, wait. So the second type of the test will be elements. I will be checking the present elements. So before, I don't need before anymore because I don't need any preparation. By this time, when I open the website and I check the title and check the URL, my website will be open by that time. So I don't need any preparation. So I will simply remove my before, and I will have my test. So first test, let's say what I will be checking. I will check that this area is present. This area is present. So text area. Text area. So my first test case will be checking text area. Second test case will be checking image. Again, copy paste. Then third test is a table. And fourth test case will be button. Okay, so those 4 elements I will check on the page. So let's do that. So now we have the most interesting part. So first of all, I again go to expect because I can use expect right away, and I need to use to be displayed. I will be checking that the elements are displayed. So this is the command. I need everything except await. I don't need await anymore because we are using sync code. This is a sync code. What is that? I will explain during the main course to know that. It'll be extra information for you. So I will just copy, paste it over here. And now I need to replace this by unique selector. I need to remove await, and I need to replace this by unique selector. This is the only thing you need to know. Okay, so first we will find the element, then we will check that element to be displayed. The expected result will be the element is displayed, right? And as you can see, it's very simple. So first of all, you find the element, put it into element constant, and then you use that element constant in expect. Expect is just a checker that checks actual and expected result. So on the left, you have actual result. You will have the element. Either it will be displayed or not. And on the right side, you have what is expected, either that specific title, text, or URL, etc. Right? In this case, it's only to be displayed. So it doesn't accept any text, as you can see, because we didn't have to check any text. We just check that element is to be displayed. So let's do that. So now the only remaining thing is this, how to find the unique selector. So actually, as you can see, at the end, I have something for you. So this is the WebDriver IO API reference. There is a browser element, validators, element, methods, and expect validations. Those I already showed you. Also, there is additional expect library on top of this expect in a WebDriver IO, and plus CSS selector guide. So this guide, we need to find different elements on the page. So how it's done? So if I go here to any website, you can always do a right click and select inspect this page. It will open the HTML structure over here for you, right? And if I need to select specific element, I click this option over here. It's an element selector, and I can hover over the image, and it will find me the image. There it is. It selected it, right? So I open it, click on it, and it will select it. So this is the image tag in HTML, and that will use it. So it has an ID. It's perfect because I can use this ID as unique identifier of this element. Then I can move over these elements. So this is the text, and I have, oh, ID is there as well. So what can I use as a unique selector for the element? First of all, it's ID. If you have an ID, it's super ideal because it should be unique, and you will be able to find that element pretty quickly and easily. So how it's done, I can go to console just to demonstrate. So you put the $sign. You can see this syntaxes in our WebDriver IO here. This is the syntaxes over here. So let me give you an example. I will just copy, paste in the browser. Right in here, if you have an ID, you put $. This is, and then you mention an ID. So the ID was line title. I can just copy it from here and paste it, line title. As you can see, it found my element. It even selected it, right? Highlighted for me. So line title, it found that element. How about line image? Yeah, line image and so on. This is the first one. So if you would like to find something by ID, use $. But what if you don't have ID? If you don't have ID, but you have some specific class, and it's unique class. Let me actually try to find if this is a specific class over here. So if I use a class, I put dot and then the class name. Yeah, as you can see, it was found. It was able to find the button specifically. So if you don't have ID but have some specific class for that element, you will be able to use that class. Unfortunately, we have ID for the button here. It's a line add button, so we can use ID. But if there is no ID, you can use class name if that class name is unique. And no other elements have that class name. In this case, it was actually unique. So I was able to find my button, but it's not always like that because classes are created to be reused. If you need to reuse the classes, for example, button red, you would like to have red button on the page. So you create class button red, and you can use it across your website. And if you have two red buttons per page, you can put that class to one button and to other button. That class will make them red, but that won't be unique. But in case if that class is unique, you can use it. So this is for the class. Okay, so for the class, and if there is a specific tag is the name of the HTML tag. So button, is button unique actually? There is one button on this page. So I'm hoping, yeah, button should be unique as well. So if you're using tag, this is the tag name, not sure how familiar are you with the HTML, and I'm not sure if that was covered by Sergey or Stan on the JavaScript course. I believe that was only JavaScript. We do cover this during the main course, and people are even creating their own website, like HTML version of their resume, but not sure if that was covered during the free course. But if this is the tag, so this is the HTML structure, and it has tag inside tag and so on. So all those guys are tags. So if you have unique tag, for example, image, there is one single image per page. It has tag EMG, so it should be also unique. If I'm using the tag name, I don't use anything, just the tag name. No space, no dot, no pound sign, just the tag name. EMG, yeah, it's also unique because there is a single image on this page, and I'm able to find this element by using just the tag name. Same for button. There's a single button, so I can use button and I will be able to find it. Again, if there is a ID, use ID. This is the best option for you, and it's a best approach for your developers. If there are no IDs, you have to work with your development team and just tell them, hey guys, we really need IDs for automation. So either you give us access to your code and we'll be adding IDs on our own. For example, if I need to interact with some element and there is no ID, I can add it to your code. I can find this page code in your repo, and I can go to, and it will be looking like this. And if you found the image code in their framework, you just go and add ID equal and something unique. So you will have that unique ID, and you will use it for your test automation. Or you ask them to do that for you. If they are not giving you the access to their framework, you ask them to add the IDs whenever possible. So everything they develop, they just make sure that you add guys ID to everything, and we will be able to use it in our framework. So this is how you need to talk to your developers, because unfortunately, not every company, not every project has unique IDs or unique attributes. And if that's not the case, you will have to play with classes if they are unique or anything else. And this document describes everything that you can do. So actually, you don't have to pay attention to this part. What are you interested in this? So this is the selector itself. So they say if you have just a unique tag, you use just tag name like div or p or emg or whatever. If you have ID, you use that pound sign before the ID, right? So they describe that. So this is what you put in this jQuery function that we have in our code. So this is the jQuery function, and what you put inside is actually what they mentioned over here, right? So this is the ID, and this is what you put inside over here. In here, right? So, and then they describe a lot of other methods. So this is what if you have a class, if you have a tag, but for example, there are cases when some element has direct child, and this is unique combination. So there is only one place in your file on this page when A is a direct child of div. Only one place. So you can use this, for example, right? Or there is unique case when A is not direct child, but there is only one place where there is a div and there is a somewhere in the structure under the div. So you can use this, right? And so on. So there are a lot of placed after, preceded by, some specific attributes. For example, if your attribute inside any attribute that you have, for example, here are the attributes. Oh, let me move this zoom thing. For example, alt equal to get in line. This may be unique, and this is also can be used. So what you do, you just put square brackets inside. Oh, it should be a string, then square brackets, and then inside you say the unique attribute. So alt equal to get in line. There is no such attribute in any other elements. So you can use this combination as well. So all of that described here. Again, you don't have to remember this. Whenever you need it, you open this document and read through it, because I'm doing the same. I don't remember, for example, I never used preceded by. And I don't remember how to use it. Right now I read it, so I need to use this tilde sign. But if I forgot how to use it, I will go and just read this document, right? So most of the time you explore a lot. You don't know something, you go and explore. You go and Google, you explore and find the solution and use it. Then you test, it doesn't work, something is failing. You try again, something else, and until it works. So a lot of time you just explore. And today, what I was doing today, I was just exploring the entire day since morning. I was exploring one failure. So one test was failure on one page, and I was just exploring why it's failing, what I need to add on the development side, because I have an access to development repo, and I was doing the fixes on their side. I was adding unique IDs to elements. I figured out in mobile view, the layout looks differently and the functionality is different. So I have to change the code specifically. So I was just exploring, trying to find specific elements on the page and so on. So this is the most time that you will spend. So again, you don't have to remember all the commands we use today, because the first time you will go to WebDriver's website and we'll just try to find them. Then once you use them, because you will be using a lot to be displayed, a lot, probably in every test case, you'll be using to be displayed, because we use it to wait for the button to be displayed. For example, you click something, then page refreshes and it takes some time, and you use this just to wait, because it will wait automatically for that button to be displayed. And then if it's displayed, it will pass and you go to the next step, which is clicking the button, for example, right? And so on. So some of them you will, of course, remember, and you will use them because you will use them daily. But for some of them, you will have to sometimes go and just check WebDriver, your website, for the command that you need, because I don't know all of them and I never used all of them. I just probably use like maybe 20 of them daily, but the rest of them, something that happens rarely, very rarely, and you just use them accordingly. Okay, so let's start testing final. That was the explanation. So fortunately, my text has unique ID, so I'm just going to use it. And who can remind me, what should I use before the ID value in my selector? What sign? You can either post in the chat or just unmute yourself and let me know. For ID, yes, Dmitry replied pound sign. That is correct. It's a $sign. So this is the ID value. I will just copy it from here. I will open my VS Code and just paste it over here. So actually, that's it. And now it will be very simple for everything else, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy, paste, 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 because I will be doing the same for every element. The only difference will be the element selector. The element selector for the image will be this, and then I will be checking that the element is displayed. Then element selector for the table will be different, and I will be again checking that the table is displayed. Then the button selector will be different, but I will be checking that the button is displayed. So actually, I copy pasted everything, and the only thing I need to do now is just change the selector. So for the table, again, inspect. This is the line image. This is the selector. Then I will put it over here, line image. So table Table. Where's the table? How to properly select the table? No, it's not a table. Like this. Table over here. I see a table. Line table. You can find it easily by. Sometimes you cannot point directly to an element you're looking for, but you can overview approximately by the tag table. Right? The table is here. It's a line table. So I'm just going to copy and paste line table. And the button, does it have unique ID? Button. Here it is. Button, line add button. So it is here. Visual Studio Code. Line add button. So okay, so I have actually 4 tests that are testing that elements are present. Text area, image, table, and button. The code is the same. I'm checking that the element to be displayed. And in the first line, I just look for that element and put it into this constant or a variable. You can use variable as well. You can use that. But since we are not going to change it, we are just assigning it and use it in the next line. Just that's why we use constant. It's a best approach. If you're not going to change the variable, you declare it as a constant. So we are just putting this into element, lm variable or constant here, and then expect this constant, which is the element, to be displayed. So code is very simple. And then you just copy and paste and just replace the selectors. And I'm going to run the test again. And let's see. So it opens. Yeah, everything passed. So actually it opened the application, checked the title, URL, then checked all the elements are displayed. And the next will be not functionality, but the values. I will check the values of whatever I can. So here, inspect. I already have the ID of the text, so I don't have to look for it actually, because I already have it. So I need to find the command. So to have, I will be looking in expect library for the element, a specific element. I expect it to have text, Oh, to have text will not work for me, probably, because this guy will be changing. I cannot put like this line, this text as expected result, because this will be changing, and I cannot put numbers 41 as expected, because it will be 42 once I add another patient. So instead, what I will probably do, use to have text containing, it will check the partial text. It will check that my text contains something. And now what I will do, I will check this part and this part. So I will have 2 texts. I will check that expect this element to have text containing this, and expect my element to have text containing this. And I will skip this because this will be changing. So by checking that the text contains this and this, I will probably check that this is expected, just ignoring this. So that would be my approach. Of course, we can create more complex approach once you know JavaScript better. But at this time, for you, this will be the most logical way to cover this test case. So I'm going just to, so actually what I'm going to do, I already have the selector for the title, so I will copy it. I will copy the selector for the title. I didn't need before. So here I will be checking the text values, text, title text, something like that. And here I have the code for my elements. So I will have the element, and now I will just use this to have element to have text containing, and I will have 2 of them. Expect element to have text containing, and this text containing is my expected result. So first check will be for this. I even copy with space. Like this, and then I will also copy and paste And the second part will be this. So I do the two checks to make sure that my text containing correct values, except the dynamic value that will be changed. And yeah, let's just run it right away to make sure that it's working. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, it also formats the output same according to the structure. So you have a describe. So it puts describe on this level. Your test is on the next level, right? It's shifted over here on the next level. And also one more trick for you to format the document is right click and you can format the document. If something is incorrect, you put something like this. Let's say which is incorrect, you just format the document and it will format everything for you. So you see that this is describe. It starts over here and this is the line. This is where describe ends. This is before, it starts here. This is the line where it ends. Same with it. So you see that this is the single if, this is the single if. Because if you don't close something, that's it. It will fail. It will not run if you forgot a single symbol, right? So it has elements, suite, and these are the four texts. It has values and a single test that we just have. Okay, so now I would like to check the image. Oh, there is no image value. So I will check, oh, I can check probably the size. The size is, I have a width that is equal to 600 pixels. This is that I can check. So this can be done by to have attribute. To have attribute. So I have the image actually already. So I just need this part. This part. Okay, so what I will do, I will just open my VS Code, copy the image width. Then the image is here. I have the image already. Oh, element. And the command will be to have attribute. To have attribute. And this is the attribute name. And this is the value, right? So the attribute name, it's a width. And value should be 600 pixels. According to the requirements, it should be 600 pixels. So what I do here, I add this width, and here it should be 600 px. So I image width, and let's run it and see if it runs. Yeah, image width is correct as well. And then I can check this and this and this. Let me check if they have unique IDs. Oh, it doesn't have unique ID. Scope call. I am not even sure what to use. I see this guy, and I see these guys, but I don't see unique IDs for them. So let's skip it. You don't have to spend time on it. But what is easy to do is the button. It has unique ID, and I need just to check the title. So let's do that. The text, right? To have text. We will use to have text. We already have that for this guy. So I will just copy, paste, we'll rename it to button title. Where's the button? Here's the button. Selector. And we, instead of to have text containing, we will use to have text. To have text. Yeah, to have text. To check the exact text that we are getting. And it should be, oh, interesting part, if we were getting the uppercase or lowercase from the WebDriver IO. So let's check. Because it's displayed as uppercase over here, but I see in the code that it's lowercase. So it's very interesting what we will get. Like this. Oh, I forgot to close in. Quote. So check that the element line at bottom. To have text, get in line. Well, let's see. It's failing. Here, it's getting uppercase, which is correct. Yeah, as you can see, this is what happens in case of the failure. It shows you this is what was expected, this is what received, and it even highlights the difference. The difference is this part is lowercase and this part is uppercase. So actually what I will do, I will update the expected result because it was correct. On the website, it should be in uppercase, and let's rerun it to make sure it runs fine. Yeah, everything's passing. So one quick, so the fourth one will be functionality, and this is probably will be the last one on functionality. So in functionality, what I will do, add new patient. Add new patient. So what I will do, I will click the button. I will click the button. So for clicking the button, this is not the checker, this is the action. So I will have to go here to the elements and look for the, or click over here for the function that clicks the element. As you can see, the command is this. So they don't do that in 2 lines that we were doing in 2 lines. They just do that right away in 1 line. Just selector and then dot click. And this is optional. The second part is optional. It's at which point to click the button, which location. Usually it clicks at the very top left pixel of the button. But in this case, you can provide the other. As you can see, it's an optional thing, but you can provide the other location. I will copy it. I will paste it. So selector in our case is this. I will just replace this thing, click, and I will remove this part. So it should be like this. Button and just click. So it will click it, and then let's just put browser pause to see that it was, that pop-up was open. Browser pause for maybe 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. And just let's run code. So I'm checking everything. Yeah, so everything was open. Awesome. Everything was open. Now I need to explore what is inside and how to interact. So once I click this, so there's a first name. Inspect. Yeah, first name. There's ID for the first name. There is ID. Last name, there is DOB field, it's there. Okay, does these guys have the IDs? Name, there is a name, so we can use the name. There is, I don't see ID, but we can use the name. Vaccine 1, value, Moderna, and there are value attribute that is unique. Pfizer. Okay, and Johnson & Johnson. So the values are there. Okay, so we can use the value. And then submit, does it have ID, line submit button? So it's there. Okay, so we can do this actually. So what we will need to do in this complex functional test. So we click the button first. Second thing, JavaScript works very, very fast. Very, very fast. So you cannot just click the button and then say your WebDriver to set values to these fields, because it will fail. You click it, pop-up didn't open, but your code is trying to set the value to the field already. So usually what you do, you wait for something to be displayed, and then you start entering the values inside. So what we will need to do, we will need to find this element and wait for it to be displayed first. Once it's displayed, we know that the form is open. So this is the element and functionality. I will make it in different with the button. Click the get inline button. The get inline button. I will do this in separate tests. So clicking the button will be here. Then the next will be set first name, something like that, first name. Then I will try, do we have something to be displayed? Yeah, over here. I will just copy code from here. As you can see, I'm copying all the times. If I have something to reuse, I always copy paste. I will be not writing down from scratch and wasting my time. I will just copy paste and just replace this. So because I need to wait for the field to be displayed, and then after this, I will set the value to the field. So first name, there's the ID. There's the ID. So I will wait for this element to be displayed, and after that, once it's displayed, I have set value. Is there a set value function for the element? Set value, it's there. As you can see, it's selector and set value. So I will copy this. Is there an example? Yeah, like this. Input set value. I will copy it from here. But the only difference that we are storing, it's not in input. They use input variable over here. We're using elements, lm. Right, so element set value, and the value, I don't know, test. Then the next code will be set last name, right? It will be to the different ID, last name, last name, last name, test user. Then actually we wouldn't have this to check this to be displayed anymore because form should be loaded by this time. So then set date of birth and okay, date of birth. So it should be another ID. I just select this ID here. Date of birth field, and date of birth will be, I don't know, 10/3 and let's say 1990. Date of birth. And then I need to select vaccine. I would like to check Moderna. Inspect. So I don't have ID, unfortunately. I don't have it. But I have this value equal to Moderna, which should be unique. It should be unique. So inspect. Oh, I broke something. Line. Yeah, value equal to Moderna. Let me test it. So I put this, I put this. And remember, you can always use any attribute by using square brackets. And then inside you put this. Yeah, so I was able to find it, so I'll copy. Copy, say date of birth. Oh man. Put here. So and select Moderna. Actually, I need to click it. So click will be super simple like this. Okay, so I will just remove this, we'll put this, and just click after it. So I have the selector and just click after it. Click, select Moderna, and then click submit. Then click submit. Submit. Does it have unique ID? Button, line submit button. Yeah, it's here. So it's an ID, so I have to use # because it's an ID now. Okay, click submit. What happens then? Let's say I say test user, then 23rd, 1990, then Moderna, click submit. So close button should be there first. So I have to wait for close button to be displayed and then click it. So, okay, so let's inspect it. So first of all, we need to wait for this button to be displayed. Line close button, it's there. Okay, so I have actually the ID for it. So click close. Click close. What I need to do to be displayed first. Okay, and then I will do lm click. It's like this. Click close, and I need to put the ID. First of all, I will check that that element is displayed because you could see that it takes time to display this button. But JavaScript will be clicking it right away if you put it right away. Just to click submit and then click close. It will be trying to click it. There is no such button, and it will just fail. So you need in such cases you need to wait for something to be displayed, and then you have to create it. So like this. This is the just general approach in animation. So and I still need to find the ID. Line close button. And let's see. And I will just put. And one more thing I would like to do here. Does this guy have, if I click close it? Okay, so I would like to check if this window has an ID. No, it doesn't have an ID. New dialog. Role. Okay, can I use this role dialog? So cancel. If I'm looking for role equal to dialog, there is nothing. What if I do right now? Yeah, so actually I can use this selector to make sure that this dialog is open. Awesome. So I would like to show that it's not displayed anymore. Once after I click close, that dialog is not displayed. I will just copy the selector and then the dialog is closed. Okay, so and then so I will put this as a selector over here. It's a selector. I don't have to click anything. And how to do it? We have the function to be displayed. To checking that it's not to be displayed. It's very simple. You put dot and not before it. So I expect element not to be displayed. Okay, and now let's try if everything works. So that was complex functional test, but I hope everything will be working. Yeah, super quick and everything's working. So let's try again. Let me maybe put some browser pause over here. Browser pause, at least for like 2 seconds. So you can see everything happening. So it enters first name, last name, date of birth, selects Moderna, clicks submit, then close. Yeah. Browser pause, and that's it. The browser is closed. Yeah, so that's it. So as you can see, automation is pretty simple. If you just follow the approach, you will need to install it only one time. Of course, this is very simple framework because we are just hard coding everything. If you would like to improve this, you will store all the selectors in one place. So what I was doing here, right? In order to check that the title is displayed, I was using title here, and then title here as well, and then maybe somewhere else. Same for the button. I was checking that the element is displayed, then the text is correct, then I was clicking the button. So I used that ID 3 times. What if ID changes tomorrow? I will have to go over the code and change that ID in every place I use it. What if there are like 100 such IDs over the place? For example, I have such button. Let's say they can be like next button. You have like application when you fill a lot of forms, and you have next button, and next button has unique ID on that page, and on every page it's unique button with its own ID. Its ID is the same everywhere for this button, and let's have you have 100 of those buttons, and on every page you say next, check to be displayed, and next click, right? So on every page you do that using the same ID. If that ID changes, you have to go over the 100 places and replace that ID, and you have to find them, where it's failing, why it's failing, and so on. So it will be a lot of work. So probably you will create a folder structure that is different from this. So you will store these in some variables in some one single place. So and then you will be just reusing these values as variables instead of like having these guys hard coded, manually typed, right? Like line title. Instead, you would store it in separate file that will have a list of those elements, and you will just import that file into this file and use it as a variable. In that case, if something changes, you go to some single place and replace it there. So this is actually what we do on the main course. Let me quickly just show you the real framework. File, open folder. So fast information. Here it is. So this is the real framework. So actually, this framework, as you can see, has multiple configurations. It has general configuration. It has small configuration. It has cleanup configuration, API configuration, because we are doing API testing using this framework as well. It has specs and multiple specs, as you can see, right? It has pages, and we store all of that on page level. So as you can see in my, let's just give you an example. For example, I open some smoke test. As you can see, I don't have any hard code over here. I just have footer, click, language toggle, and then check that another toggle displayed. Check devlink, and that is coming from the page object model, which is here in pages, right? So we have multiple pages. We have for API separately. So this is how the real framework looks like. So this is what we do during the manual course, because of course, automation in terms of like installing the framework in just using the hard code is very simple, because you use those commands. You install framework only once. So only once you follow that guide, and then you just use the commands, reuse the same commands. Click, set value, check to be displayed, check not to be displayed, and that's it. Those 4 commands, you can do everything just only with those 4 commands, like checking that something is displayed, clicking something, setting value, and clicking and checking that something is not displayed. So you can probably do the like 80% of the work with only those 4 commands, and that's it. But the real framework is very complex, because you would like to reuse your code. You would like to save your selectors in one place. So for example, we know that one page usually has unique elements, and they have unique selectors. So we store everything in expected results for this page, and all the selectors stored in element selectors. And then we have a bunch of methods that reuse those selectors. For example, if you would like to set value to the first name field, I don't type manually here first name. I use first name as a variable that stores my selector. So if something happens tomorrow with my selector, it changes. I go to this place and just replace it over here, and that's it. And everything else will be updated automatically, because instead of just copying this and pasting every time, I'm just using it this once and using this variable. Actually, this is a getter instead of that hard code, and it just used for in my every test whenever I somehow interact with that icon, and so on. Also, there are some helpers. For example, this helper is to generate random number, this helper to generate random string, and this helper is to generate random string with the special characters, right? and some credentials for the websites and so on. So this is how the framework looks like. Also, we have temp folder where we store screenshots in case of failures, right? Something fails, it stores the screenshots, stores the game ID if we would like to store some and then use it in the future. And also we send email. So we have the logic to send email after the test. So this is how real framework looks like. So of course, it takes time to develop something like this. And this is what we teach during the main course. And what we would like to also introduce to add Cypress to this, because this is WebDriver IO framework, very complex, but I would love to also add Cypress. So you learn 2 frameworks and it will give you more advantage to learn more and find more jobs, because Cypress is very demanding, especially on some startup jobs when there are simple products and you just need to test simple things, simple one-page applications or simple applications with no external implementations. So you're able to do Cypress, and Cypress is very simple. On top of the WebDriver IO, it's very simple. And this is what we do. Yeah, so let's get back to our simple code. I would like to show you a few more things that will make your life easier. So first of all, what I would like to show you is you can see that sometimes the file is not saved automatically. You will see some dot over here. It's not saved. So you click file and autosave. So this file will be autosaved. Once you like click something, once you click somewhere else, it will be autosaved. So you will never have this file not saved. For example, you're working with the Word document or the text document. Until you click save, it won't be saved, right? It will be still old version of the file. So, and you may see this with this file. So I really recommend to enable this. And also one more thing, if you go to file or code, preferences, then settings, and type for format, you select this option, format on paste, format on save, and format on type. Those 3 options: save, paste, and type. So what it gives you, so whenever you do something incorrectly, right? I type something. Oh, for example, I click something, save or paste, it auto-formatted. I didn't click right click and did format document. I just paste something or save something. Let's say I copied this, paste it, and it will be auto-formatted. Oh, it auto-formatted this, but not this one. When I do save, it will auto-format everything. Yeah, I click Control+S, save, right? Like this, and it's formats everything automatically. That will give you a nice automatical work. So it will be formatting your document automatically. It will be automatically saving the changes. You don't have to click file, save, or on the keyboard, control save or command save on that, and so on. So this is also a nice thing. So one more thing to add to the configuration. So right now you run the test with this command. So there is a way to have predefined scripts. If you go to package.json, there will be scripts. So scripts is just like your own predefined scripts that you can run. You put the content of the script over here, and this is the command to run. And you can run this by using npm run and the name of the script, npm run test, for example. You may have another script. You put comma, and I don't know, you would like to have a script clean, and do something here inside. So you put that here, and then you're able to run it with npm run clean. So you actually can run any command. They support every terminal command. If you know Unix, and you can create files, you can navigate to some folders, you can remove folders, you can copy content of some files from one place to another place, whatever you can do, run some commands, generate reports, send emails, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you would like to do here, you put into this scripts, because these commands can be long. Instead of like typing every time over here, long commands, you put the long commands in here, and we'll be able to run it with npm run clean or npm run test. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that long test command that I'm running every time in, this is the command, right? This is the command. I'm going to put it in my package.json into test script. And now, whenever I need to run this, I just type npm run test. Let's npm run test. Something is not, it's working. Yeah, it works. It runs the test for me. Yeah, so as you can see, no, not like this. Come on. I would like to clean this. Hey. Like this. Okay, so like this, I cleaned everything. npm run test. npm run test. As you can see, it just shows me what it runs over here. It was the same script that I copied and pasted. So when I type npm run test, what's happening? Something is failing. Oh, it skipped the first name. So what was the problem with the first name? Let's run it again. Yeah, it worked this time. Okay, okay, so it worked. And one more thing to check again, I do the configuration. And there is a log level in line number 73. I change it to silent. Silent. To avoid all of those logs in my terminal. So if I run npm run test, right now it will be less information in my terminal. As you can see, it's only execution, then running in Chrome, passed in Chrome, and the report. Yeah, this is the only thing that I will have. This is one more thing that you can add to make your life simpler. And then your homework will be just to play and add more tests. So for example, what you can do, you can try, I don't know, try to open this window, then click cancel, just open it, make sure that the cancel is displayed first, then click cancel and make sure that the Windows is not displayed anymore, right? Something like that. Yeah, and you can play with something else. You can play and create your own. If you, especially you were not following me, I would suggest you to copy the same that I did during the lesson to test everything. And it's pretty nice. It's very simple. And we do that step by step. We usually start with this, then we add another layer. Okay, let's improve our configuration. The next level, oh, let's introduce page object model. Let's move our hard-coded selectors to this place. Let's store them here. Let's recreate those hard-coded methods by methods in page object model and replace them. So we reuse our code. So we do that step by step. And what we do right now with our automation team, we're actually running automation pipelines in continuous integration, sending automatic emails, triggering the code automatically from Azure DevOps, not from our machines, not from terminal, but from Azure DevOps. I can actually show you quickly if you're interested. We still have, I can spend a few more minutes with you. So DevOps, I can show you. So we have the pipelines over here. Pipelines, and whenever somebody creates a pull request, so we trigger, oh, actually there is a pull request. So there is 3 pipelines triggered automatically: API test check, regression test check, and smoke test check. So all of them have to pass to make sure that this person didn't break anything while creating the new pull request and generating new code. Then I go here, check what was changed, what was introduced, and etc. So we have those pipelines over here. So for example, I would like to trigger API code. I go here, I trigger the API code. and it runs on the remote server. But it runs our code that we create from our VS Code on everybody's machine. So at the end, we work on the project, we work picking up the tasks, working on the tasks, changing the code, pushing the code to the remote repo, and running everything in continuous integration pipelines and blah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So actually, we have pretty advanced and cool real project. And we try to do everything like according to industry standards. What you will see in real, you will see a lot of troubles. Many companies are not following the best standards, but we try to teach people according to the industry best practices and standards. So once you join the company, you can suggest the improvements, right? Because if we will teach you like, okay, you don't have to care about that because nobody's doing that, nobody's following that standard, nobody's trying to improve this, so it's not needed for, we try to do like real cool best industry standards like at Apple, at Facebook, Google, Amazon, and so on. So even if some small companies, startups are not following that, you will be the professional telling them, hey, you know what? I was using this in the past and it was working pretty fun and pretty nice. So maybe we can improve this process here and implement the same approach at our project. So you will be suggesting some changes and improvements in the future. Yeah, so API test actually ran. Yeah, sending the request, testing everything. Yeah. So actually pretty cool and advanced framework that we have. People are working on the tasks. Yeah. So questions. Let me stop sharing. That's it. For the homework, you just need to follow the same guide. You just need to install your test automation framework and do the same. I will be not checking it because this is the last QA lesson. The last lesson that we have is about resume and interview, just some motivation and so on, just market overview and just answering your general questions, which is on Thursday. So I won't be checking this. It's only up to you and on you whether you would like to create this or not. But I was hoping that I will try to explain you that it's very simple. It's easy to do. It's very easy to install. You just follow the guide. Once you installed, the only thing you do is just add more and more tests. And those commands come from WebDriver, your website. So actually you have everything to start doing your automation even right now. Of course, real world automation is complex, but no worries. You already made a first step. And I think the rest will be pretty easy for you if you were able to understand this. Sometimes, it's not easy to understand from the first run. That's why we give the homework. After every lesson, we have the homework. So you can try. So you play with it, you try. And if something is not working, we'll work with you right away on trying to fixing that. So you don't wait, you just post your problem into the chat right away and we solve it together. So you're able to complete it. And once you complete it, you finally understand it. So the homework is an essential part of the education at our school as well. That's what we do. That's how we do. And the questions. Any questions? Oh, go ahead. AJ, I see that you're unmuted.
Yeah, I know a prerequisite to take the automation course is the coding basics.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, you can imagine automation course is like 4 months, but actually it consists of like 2 courses because we consider them as 2 separate courses because you may take coding basics and go directly to front-end development. And for example, you are not interested in automation and you're just interested in front-end development. So you may take coding basics and then go to front-end development, right? So that's why we have coding basics is like a separate course. So you take coding basics and then you go to test automation, or you go to front-end development, or you can even take both. But people who were trying to do that were not successful because it's really hard. Because coding basics and manual in parallel, it's fine, it's normal. But if you take automation course and front-end course in parallel, it's pretty hard. There were like maybe 1 or 2 people who did that, but most of the people just try first week and then say, no, I will focus on automation, or I will take front-end course. So yes, you can imagine like automation, like 2 courses, like coding basics and automation, because automation will be based on coding basics. So automation will be just purely project and tool. We will be not learning new stuff in terms of coding. It comes with like understanding that you already have coding basics. So that's why coding basics is like a prerequisite. So you learn coding, and in automation course, it's like a project and working on a tool and learning the tool, page object model, how to organize your suites properly, continuous integration, API testing, and etc. And also we would like to add Cypress as well. So it's more about tool-based and project-based than just coding. So automation doesn't have coding. We are not teaching coding in automation. We are teaching like how to work with the tool based on the coding basics. But if you, let's say some schools have this as a single course. So if you go to some school, they would say we have automation course, and there is a single course like 5 months. You take coding basics, and then you learn automation later, but it's a single course. We did like separate courses just to forgive people. It has like 2 advantages. First of all, some people are interested in manual testing. We say you can take manual testing and do coding basics in parallel for free. So they take for free, and they then at the end of the course, they realize, okay, I know coding basics pretty well. It's easy for me. I learned that, and I know everything. I was able to complete all the homeworks. So I know the coding basics. So probably I'm ready for the test automation or front-end development. So then they're able to take the next course. So they are not required to go to the next level if they are not sure, right? So this is one advantage. The second advantage, so you learn coding basics and you choose your path. You can either go to automation, but you need to know manual and coding basics, or you just take coding basics only and go to front-end development. So you choose your path. So that's another advantage, right? So you are not blocked only by automation course or only by that course. You just select that partially coding basics, and then you decide where to go with that knowledge. That's the reason why we broke it down to like 2 separate courses, coding basics and automation. So automation and front-end development, they are project and tool based. So you are actually learning the tool and work on the project mostly, not learning the coding itself. You should know something by that time. That's the approach. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and when does that course start?
I think we start like November 25th or something like that. Let me quickly check. Start courses, we start November 23rd. November 22nd. The coding basics. Coding basics, first lesson starts November 22nd. Okay, any other questions? Any feedback, guys? Were you able to understand everything? Are you excited? Anything? Okay, thank you, Dan. Very helpful. Oh, somebody's calling me. Sorry for that. Okay. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that you came to this lesson, that you participated, you stayed till the end. And I hope you will follow me, even if you didn't follow me today. Please watch the video again, install the prerequisites, and just follow me, because I want you to understand and realize that it's very easy. And it's doable. It's very doable, and especially if you try, because sometimes you watch the video and you think, oh, seems like I understand everything. But once you start trying, you forgot some comma somewhere, you forgot some closing bracket somewhere, and it starts breaking. So you have to get used to it. So please try that for sure. Try to build the same code that I built on your own, and I think you will like it. So thank you for participating, and hope to see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.